All right, guys, welcome back to the Unbounded Pursuit channel. Thanks again for staying tuned. So this is a quick little recap you see here and fast forward of me going through and boiling out my whitetail deer from this year, my 2021 tag that I filled. So you can tell I threw in some baking powder and some Dawn dish soap that helps neutralize the smell and also clean it up. So go through and go ahead and use a pressure washer is the best method. There's a link above and below of a video to actually boiling out this skull in more detail. And one thing you can tell here is I don't pull it out very much. I leave it in there. I pull that bottom jaw out just so you have more access to more bone. But after 2 hours, 2.5 hours maybe of boiling, you can pull that out, and it with a pressure washer, high pressure pressure washer, you can almost get it completely clean. So one last thing here is the ear canals. You're going to want to pop those out. Gives you access to the brain cavity, which just makes it a lot easier to get that brain and everything out of there. Then I like to stick it in for another 20 or 30 minutes just to get a little final cleaning. As you can tell, it is spick and span, spotless. The whole skull is cleaned. It's ready to be dried. And once it is dry, it is ready to be whitened. Nice thing here in this method, the skull is nice and intact, doesn't get soft. You don't lose any teeth, which is a bummer to glue that in later. So here we are. It is dry. It is ready to be whitened. So you can tell I have that 50 cream and that 40 peroxide. What you're going to want to do is make a 50-50 paste. Once you have that figured out and mixed in I use an old Tupperware container. This one's a yogurt. You get a little brush, mix it together. And then what you're going to do is you're going to be ready to paint it on the skull. So you're going to get your skull out. I like to use either newspaper, some sort of paper, or even cardboard just to not get this stuff all over the place. What's nice about a deer skull is it's got horns, so you don't get it on your hands. Bear skull, you're going to want to wear plastic gloves. This stuff will bleach and eat your hands up. It's not very fun. So go through, make sure you get every little crack, every little ridge. Get the entire skull, lather it on very liberally. You want that to just really soak in and touch every aspect of that skull so that you have the most opportunity to get the skull as white as possible. So by the time I go through and have done all of this, usually it's already pre-dry, and I'll go through and just keep putting it on so that it looks almost wet when I am done. And you'll see from each aspect, especially with the pressure washer, you're going to keep those teeth. You're going to keep most of the nostril contents, which some people like, some people don't. It's all, your preference. And once you have those ear canals popped out, it gives access to that brain cavity a lot easier. So you can get more of this whitening solution in there, which also in turn, if there is any sort of stench left over, after you're done boiling and cleaning, is this whitening bleach solution is going to also help take that one more step further in neutralizing that scent and making sure that this isn't stinking up your house. So the great thing with deer horns usually gives an opportunity to prop up the head. Like I said, I didn't need to wear gloves. I got none of it on my hands because of that. I was able to get in all the little cracks and really take my time and go over each and every piece. This video is sped up to about 5.5 minutes, but I probably, take away the boiling time and cleaning with the pressure washer and water. This might have maybe taken me 5 minutes for this whitening step. So 2 hours, fairly hands off for boiling and cleaning. 2 hours, you spray a couple times for a couple minutes or so, and that's done. So yes, it's a good chunk of time, but really the act of you doing something is very little. And then with the whitening stuff here, you're maybe only going 5, 6, 7 minutes of taking the time to set up a workspace. I was just here on my knees on my floor downstairs, laid down some paper, mixed the solution, started painting. Just a few minutes, boom, it was pretty much done. And one thing that really helps this process is it needs to, dry for 24 hours. So one thing that I was told that was just genius, and it helps to also protect any dripping, if you don't have a good surface like paper underneath it, or also to keep the dripping off of the horns to not bleach those suckers, is wrap it in plastic wrap. I used a couple different pieces just to make sure there was no holes, and just wrap it in kind of tight, wrap it right under those horns. And then you just leave it to sit and dry for the day. Come back about 24 hours later, pulled it off, and look at that bad boy, white as can be. So do it for your own liking. If you want to do another coat or touch it up with some sandpaper, great. Or paint on another coat just as is. But otherwise, that is what I have found to be the best DIY method for whitening skulls and cleaning them. Thanks again for staying tuned. Please subscribe to the channel. And until next time.